So, my dear students, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a short video presentation of some of the words you might need in class when you are going to say something about gun violence in the USA, when you're going to express your knowledge and your opinion about school shootings, and through this video you'll also learn what the Second Amendment is, a law that says that the Americans, they have the right to carry guns if they want to. There will be some glossary training in it, so you can watch the video a few times and through this perhaps learn some of the words. I hope you can combine them with your own language and in this way boost your vocabulary. First of all, we have to understand that the Americans, they have easy access to guns. Hvis man har nemt ved at få fat i noget, well, in this case guns, you can use the phrase easy access to. Some people would say that what happens is inexplicable. Inexplicable. You cannot explain it. It's inexplicable. It's difficult to explain. Det er et godt ord, hvis man vil sige, at det kan være svært at forklare noget, så er det inexplicable. Here we have three words you might know. To bully, at mobbe. A bully, en der mobber. Bullying, det at mobbe. And to make you remember what it is to bully someone and perhaps to be a bully, well, you can watch this and learn and never forget that to be a bully is not a very nice thing. You have to fight against bullying. But these words, they have to do with school shootings because some of the reasons or some of the explanations behind it sometimes has to do with bullying. Let's take away the bull and continue with the words. Some people, they feel ignored in class. They feel that they are rejected. And then perhaps they live in solitude, loneliness. They live alone. Solitude. And they might decide to seek revenge. They might decide to look up a recipe on the internet, how to build a bomb or how to use a gun. And then they decide to retaliate, to pay back, at gøre gengæld, to retaliate. And they decide to resort to violence. At gribe til vold, siger vi på dansk. The English phrase is resort to violence. And then we sort of have the circle ended. Well, if you have easy access to guns and you experience all these things in between, you are bullied, you feel ignored, you are rejected, you decide to pay back, and you have easy access to guns, well, then perhaps we have the explanation of some school shootings. Here are a few more words you could learn. Perhaps you know them, perhaps you could just try to put them into your own language. Some of it could perhaps also be used when you talk about how to prevent it from happening. Prevent, det er et godt ord, at undgå. You want to prevent these things from happening. To wound, at såre en. Identified, the shooter was identified as a 19-year-old guy who, something like that. To fire a gun, to toss, if you're talking about a bomb or something, you can say he tossed the bomb. To evacuate, we have the same word in Danish. To be shot, in passive form, at blive skudt. I was shot, he was shot by someone. Peers, well, perhaps we use that word mostly in combination with pressure. Peer pressure. På dansk siger vi som regel gruppepres, men på engelsk er det sådan, man lægger lidt vægt på, at det er presset fra de jævnaldrende. He suffered from peer pressure. Hans jævnaldrende pressede ham på en eller anden facon. Preparation, well, if you prepare something and you put a lot of preparation into it, it could be an attack on your fellow students. No clue, well, it's just another way of saying inexplicable. I have no clue why this happened. It's inexplicable. If someone was shooting at my school, I would try to hide. It would be a tragedy if lives were lost. Some of the shooters are filled with anger. Perhaps you know the word angry. I'm very angry. Anger, filled with anger. And they don't know how to express their sadness or their loneliness or their feelings, and they express it through resorting to violence. They think it's a way of resolving their problems. To solve problems, to resolve it. To escape, well, if I couldn't hide, I would try to escape. And some of them, perhaps, people would say, some of the shooters, they have a lack of mangel på, a lack of understanding, a lack of parental control, parental supervision. Der er ikke så mange forældre, der holder øje med dem. Lack of something. Det kan være mange ting, man har mangel på. They lack something. They have a lack of something. To target. Well, perhaps you know the word target, but it can also be used as a verb here. At vælge noget ud som mål hedder he was targeted. To target someone. And all these words put together, perhaps you can use when you talk about school shootings. I promised you I would teach you something about the Second Amendment. In Denmark, we have the fundamental law called Grundloven. Vi ved, at alle love skal ligesom rette sig ind efter Grundloven. Man må ikke modsige Grundloven. It's the same way with the American Constitution. Det er den amerikanske grundlov, kan man sige. And in the American Constitution, we find the Second Amendment. Den anden paragraf, eller den anden tilføjelse. And the Second Amendment says, look at the poster, a well-regulated, it's a difficult word, I'm sorry, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Det var en masse gamle ord. Skal man prøve at oversætte det nogenlunde, så betyder det sådan bare, at for at opretholde frihed, for at opretholde et frit land, så er det nødvendigt at have den sikkerhed, at folket, vores borgere, må have, keep, og bære våben. Keep and bear arms. Og den ret shall not be infringed. Den skal der ikke pilles ved. Den må ikke ændres. In other words, you could say that every American has the right to keep and bear arms. Det er den korte udgave af The Second Amendment. Og det er den, man henviser til, hvis man gerne vil forklare folk, hvorfor amerikanerne har ret til at gå rundt med skydevåben og have skydevåben i den mængde og i den stil, som de har. Every American has the right to keep and bear arms, and if someone tries to put it away, to take this right away, well, some Americans would say they're trying to step on the American Constitution. They are trying to destroy a fundamental right. Det er the Second Amendment. You have the right to keep and bear arms, and this right should not be taken away from you. Finally, to perhaps help you remember this, the Second Amendment. Well, this is a comic or something trying to, well, show what it was like in the old days. The founding fathers, well, they made the Second Amendment. De grundlæggende fædre, the people who started America, they wrote the Second Amendment, and their situation was very different. You can see that from the statue. It's his situation. He was fighting for his freedom, for his independence. Today, well, we have another idea, but it's still the Second Amendment. Her har vi en typisk amerikaner bevæbnet til tænderne med automatvåben og adskillige skydevåben og en masse ammunition. And he would use the same law, the Second Amendment, to say, well, I have the right to have these guns. Når der nedenunder the Second Amendment i den moderne udgave står as defined by the NRA, then you have to know that the NRA is short for the National Rifle Association. It's an organization that believes that we should have the right to bear arms and we should teach people to use arms responsibly. And they are fighting for that idea that you have the right to protect your own and to execute that right, for at udøve den ret, then of course you should have the right to have arms and guns in your house. The National Rifle Association. It's a very strong organization with a lot of members, and they also have political influence so that they can stop the laws from being changed. They can stop different laws from trying to change the Second Amendment. I hope you learned some of the words through this short video presentation. At least you now know what the Second Amendment is, and it's something you have to understand the American idea of having guns in your house. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll try to implicate these words in our own language later on. Bye for now.